Greuze is going to specialize in sentimental narratives, again, getting at that nostalgia that we tend to see. We've seen with Chardin, and we're going to see again later, this nostalgia that reminds people of a simpler time, frequently childhood. But the piece we're looking at is Village Bride, which deals with a very different form of simplicity. What we see is an unadorned, rustic setting with simple, working, and lower middle class people. And this is a simplicity that the upper classes tend to look down to, but yet look up to at the same time. They frequently sit there and go, oh, it was a simpler time when I didn't have that factory I was running or all that money that I had to deal with. So what we see here is in a notary's presence, and I should point out the notary is the man in black on the right here. In the notary's presence, the father has passed his daughter's dowry to his son-in-law. The bride is standing there unsure of what's going on. Now, this probably was an arranged marriage. We see this all the way down to the poor. And the bride is depicted here as innocent. Now, we know from the Renaissance and other times that teenagers were no more innocent back then than they are today. But again, in the name of simplicity, in the name of nostalgia, she's being depicted as if she's quite innocent of what is to come. Her sister and mother seem to be comforting her rather than celebrating. And ironically, this is bourgeoisie patronage. This is probably upper middle class patronage, looking at this simpler time, this better time that they may have had, looking at the simplicity of the lives involved in the lower classes. Now, in terms of composition, it's a very busy piece, but they've taken some lessons from earlier artists. For example, we have this horseshoe composition, something we're going to see in the neoclassical, and something that draws the viewer in. After all, we're given all of this space between the chickens to enter into the scene, stand and watch. We get the sense of the children bored or paying attention to other things, not tied into the adult life. And of course, we have the sister who seems to be concerned about this, not really trusting the groom in any way, shape, or form. So why would this be such a popular work? It's a simpler life. Remember the difference between the people commissioning and buying the work versus the people depicted within it. The people depicted within it would never buy this painting. They couldn't afford it if they wanted to. But the people who do buy this work are looking at it as a symbol, as metaphorical. The idea is that happiness is the reward for natural virtue. If you can live a simple life, you will be happier. But of course, anyone who's been poor or working class knows, well, that's not entirely the case. But to the middle class, to the upper class, that's exactly their belief.